My name is Michelle Neff Hernandez. I am the CEO and founder of Soaring International. I was widowed in 2005 when my husband, who was 39 at the time, was killed in a cycling accident. I was 35. I had 3 kids and 3 stepkids.
He passed away suddenly in his sleep in 2015.
He died of COVID, spent the last 33 days of his life in the hospital.
She passed the day after Christmas, December 26, 2022.
My wife died unexpectedly from complications from diabetes.
My partner, Boris, died by suicide.
I lost my husband, Terry Ford, to a motorcycle accident while we were traveling in Thailand.
And my fiance, Sergio, answered the call to the World Trade Center.
He died a week before we were to get married.
My late wife, Kimberly, was severely addicted to narcotic painkillers.
And I never got the autopsy, so I don't know the official reason why he died.
James had pancreatic cancer.
She found herself after 2 strokes on a ventilator, and they had to make the terrible decision of whether to leave her on it or not.
He died of a pulmonary embolism.
My wife Amelia passed away 4 years ago yesterday due to complications of COPD.
And my husband and 2 sons all died in a small plane crash.
I was the first one of my friends to get married. I was the first one of my friends to have kids. I was the first one of my friends to lose my husband.
We were together 15 years. So he was my best friend, love of my life. I used to joke that we had nothing in common except for each other, and I just loved that. I was 33 and he was 35. And yeah, that was my world obliterated.
My husband was a healthcare worker, and he made the decision to go on the vent. He texted me because he couldn't talk. He was on BiPAP. It was, he couldn't breathe, and so he was like, "It's my only chance."
Of course, it was devastating, and of course, I cried, for the first couple months. But I didn't know right away that I needed help. This thing was too hard.
In my journey of trying to find resources, I came across Camp Widow, or Soaring Spirits, and so that was about 13 months after Rob died. Every bit of me struggled, one piece of me wanted to come, but the majority didn't. I could barely see through the tears in my eyes as I was walking into camp. But then I ran into a couple of widows my age, and we kind of found each other. I think we might have been in one workshop together. And by the end of camp, I had friends. And I wasn't alone.
I would say in this tough process, that was the way I knew that I would cope, that I would get through this, is through other people that went through the same experience as me. This is my sister, Edna Gleason, my beautiful sister, and she's also a widow.
My husband died a few years ago. It was June 28th of 2008. And in all this time, I had never sought any help. I was raising 2 young children alone, and I just focused on that. And when my brother's wife died recently, and he called me up and said, "Hey, I'm going down to this conference," and I said, "You know what? I'll go with you." I didn't know that I needed the support. All the years, I never really expressed how I felt to anyone. I just took care of my kids, went to work, and did my best.
The other COVID widow that was here, he had thought that by consenting to the event that was what killed his wife. I never thought someone would think that they were responsible for their person's death, but they'd been carrying that around, and some part of my story helped them, and I was like, my husband would be so happy that me telling his story, that as a healthcare worker, he knew we knew the chances, we knew it wasn't good. You don't just put people on a ventilator. But those other widows who had carried around so much guilt, me sharing that one little sentence in my story.
If you know something, if you learned something, if you figured something out, share that with others. It's almost an obligation to make sure that others have it a little bit easier.
When I got back last year after my first camp, my oldest stepson, Michael, he said, "I can tell you're different. You're not carrying such a weight around," and I think it's because I got to kind of spread it out with people who got it, and we could all carry a little bit of each other's weight.
This gave me an opportunity to finally relate to other people, realize I'm not alone, realize there were people who understood me, and it was a huge release. I feel unburdened, and I've made connections that I know I'll keep, and it's just been wonderful.
I left last year feeling empowered, and I was like, I can do this.
I wouldn't be sitting here at all without the support that I got through Camp Widow.